Coming to a comfortable seated position, feel the sitting bones rooting into the mat. We'll suck in Uddiyana Bandha right away, feeling as though the belly is lifting up and underneath the rib cage. Roll the shoulders back, create space in the heart center. And begin to slow the breath down, taking long, slow, satisfying inhalations and complete, satisfying exhalations. Possibly introducing the Ujjayi breath, that whisper at the back of the throat. Let your respiration be rhythm. Let it guide you throughout the practice. We'll come back to it again and again. Taking hands now to heart center, let's swoop arms all the way up overhead. Take a big inhalation and then exhale. Hinge forward, walk the arms out. Let the sitting bones remain rooted. And you might take this time to set an intention for the yoga practice. Feel the triceps elongating, space in the armpits elongating, space between the ribs. And we'll come back up to sit. Twisting all the way to the left, take right hand to the outside of left knee. And if it's accessible to you, grab hold of a foot with your left hand. If not, just take the left hand close behind you. Continue to engage Uddiyana Bandha, the belly lock. Lift the heart, gaze over left shoulder. Swoop back to center, take arms up overhead, and we'll switch legs from here. This time, lifting arms above head. Exhale, hinge for forward fold, returning to that goal or intention that you set in motion. Returning to Ujjayi breath. And finding a deep stretch all around the ribs. You can breathe here to the back of the heart. Expand. Coming back up to sit, let's twist all the way to the right. Left hand on the outside of right knee. Right hand either behind you or grabbing hold of your hip, thigh, foot if it's there. Spread the chest apart, gaze farther and farther over right shoulder, and lift the tummy. Back to center. Coming to all fours, let's tuck the toes, send the hips up high, and prepare ourselves in downward facing dog. Make some movements in downward dog. Make it yours. Maybe bend a knee at a time, or come up onto tippy toes. You can rock hips from side to side. Ultimately settling in, feet hips distance apart, fingers spread wide, sitting bones reaching up to the ceiling. And we'll shift into plank position. Exhale, come to chaturanga. Inhale to upward facing dog or cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog. Kick the right leg high, stack the hip, bend the knee, point it up to the ceiling, and open up. Keep pointing the knee higher and higher. Keep rooting the left heel down, and place the right foot back down. Kicking left leg up, bend that knee, stack the hips, point the knee up toward the ceiling. Feel the stretch in the front body, the twist, the opening in the legs. Then settle the left foot back down. Inhale, right leg up high, and exhale, step it through to hands. Place the back knee on the ground and reach all the way up with left arm, placing right hand to the small of your back. If it feels right, take the right hand down the left leg. Keep reaching back. Hands will frame the right foot. Let's straighten the right leg and bow into a fold over it. Rocking now. Come forward, send the hips forward, and then exhale. Extend the right leg and bow. Coming forward. Exhale back. Now holding the fold. Using breath to dig deeper. Inhales, lengthen your spine. Exhales, bow in more fully. Coming to all fours, take a cat-cow. Inhale, gaze up. Exhale, round. Tucking toes, send hips high, downward facing dog. Kicking left leg up, step the foot between the hands. Settle back, heel on the ground. Climb up onto the thigh and lift your right arm up high. Left hand to the small of the back. And then, if it feels right, track left hand down the right thigh. Keep reaching back. Let the hips sink forward and down, but feel tucking in the tailbone. Roll the hands down to frame the left foot, and we'll rock back, straightening the leg and bowing. Forward, sending hip flexors to the front of the mat, and then exhale, bow. Roll forward, bowing again, and now holding this. Every breath a chance to deepen the hamstring stretch and to lengthen the spine. Step right into downward facing dog. We'll rock out the heels, settle into stillness, and then roll into plank position. Exhale, chaturanga, hovering 10 inches above the ground. Inhale, upward facing dog, and exhale, downward facing dog. You might roll into the tops of the toes just to feel that big stretch in the feet. Maybe take it one at a time if that doesn't feel right. Then we'll kick the right leg high, step it all the way to hands, and take the left arm up toward the ceiling, right hand to the small of the back, or then perhaps tracking down the left leg, reaching back for crescent lunge. Just as before, squeezing thighs together though now, and rolling hands to the mat. Rocking again, forward and back, straighten the leg and bow, bend the knee deeply, send the hips forward, back, forward, back. Now squaring hips and holding this forward fold for about 5 breaths. Soften the right knee, take hands to the mat, and step right into downward facing dog. Kicking left leg high, place that foot between the hands. Lift arms all the way up, right arm back, left hand to the small of the back. Flatten out the tailbone, and then maybe walk that left hand down the right leg. Keep reaching back, feel strong through the legs, and lifted light through the chest. Rolling hands down, rocking again. Back, straighten that leg and bow. Forward, bend the knees, send the hips forward and down. And then rock back, rock forward, and back again. Now squaring hips, folding over this left leg, taking about 5 breaths. Step back to downward facing dog. And then walk feet halfway to hands. Try to maintain the down dog sensation, sending the hips behind you, maybe taking fingertips to the ground. Try to get this long, flat line from your back to your arms. Let the armpits be heavy. Then walk all the way to hands, flatten the back, and fold into Uttanasana. Inhale to flat back, and exhale again, bow in, Uttanasana. Inhale to flat back, exhale, bow in. Inhale, leading with the heart now. Keep spine straight, lift arms above the head, palms touch, and then hands move to heart center. Let's take a side body stretch. Right hand to the right hip, left arm up and over to the side. Every breath digging in deeper, maybe swiveling the heart up toward the ceiling. Left hand, left hip, right arm up and over. Feel that stretch all the way from right fingers to the right hip, and spin the heart up to the ceiling. Hands back to prayer, step to the front of the mat, toes touching. Now interlacing fingers behind the back, come up onto tippy toes and slowly bend the knees, coming all the way down with control, and then standing up slowly. Bowing for a forward fold, letting the hands fly overhead. If it feels better, separate the feet a bit and soften the knees. Breathe right to your shoulders. Only if it feels right, rock side to side a little bit. Open one shoulder at a time. One long, slow inhale to stand. Let the hands drop to the ground and bend the knees deeply. Or for a squat, you can separate the feet quite a bit, almost mat width apart, and you might take the toes to splay out a little bit. Hands to heart center, elbows close inside the knees, helping them wide. We'll place hands on the ground, send the hips up high, flatten back, and then step the right foot all the way back, left foot back, plank position, chaturanga, urdhva mukha svanasana, and adho mukha svanasana. Kick the right leg high, place that foot between the hands and root the back heel down. Inhale up to warrior one, exhale warrior two, inhale reverse warrior, and swing arms down to take an optional vinyasa, any style you like. Meeting back in downward facing, kick the left leg high. Step that foot through, root the back heel down. Inhale up, warrior one. Exhale, open, warrior two. Inhale, peaceful warrior, and roll the hands all the way down. Optional vinyasa, and meeting in downward facing dog. Settle into down dog. Reconnect with your intention here. Reconnect with the Ujjayi breath. Feel the belly lifting. And then we'll soften knees, gaze forward, and step or hop to hands, flattening the back, and then folding all the way in. Inhale, lift up to stand, lead with the heart, palms touch above head, gaze up, and hands into heart center. Inhale, lift arms above head. Exhale, dive for forward fold. Inhale to flat back, and step the left foot all the way back. Right foot, plank, chaturanga, upward facing or cobra, downward facing. Kicking right leg high, step that foot all the way through. Root the back heel down. Inhale, warrior one. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, reverse warrior, maybe core supported. And then triangle. Right hand reaches for the shin, ankle, floor block, or even big toe. Left arm reaching high up to the ceiling. Check in with the alignment. Make sure your head is hovering about above that right foot. And we feel an opening in the inner right leg. Stand up tall, find warrior two. Reverse the warrior just to swing arms down to the ground and take your optional vinyasa. In down dog, kick left leg high. Step that foot through, root the back heel, lift, warrior one. Exhale, open, warrior two. Inhale, reach back, peaceful warrior. And straighten left leg, find Trikonasana, your triangle pose. Left hand where you like it, right arm reaching high to the ceiling. Try rolling that right hip on top of the left tucks underneath. Feel wide and expansive through the chest, and pull the shoulders apart. Standing all the way up, bend left knee, find reverse warrior, and circle arms down and around, back to chaturanga, upward facing dog or cobra, and downward facing dog. Soften the knees, empty the belly, gaze forward, and step or hop to hands with a flat back, fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, lift up a bit, and then step your feet right on your hands. The fingers face the heels. You can step high up on your wrists, and then send some weight to the toes, lifting the sitting bones ever higher. To release, take fingertips to the ground, and then soften knees, stepping or hopping to chaturanga, and cobra or up dog, and back to down dog. Kick right leg high, step the right foot through, roll the back heel down, and find warrior one. Transitioning to a balance now. Grab hold of left yogi toe lock. You can keep that left knee deeply bent if that better suits your practice. But if you'd like to, try to keep a straight leg and keep this leg lifting higher and higher. Try to almost lock out base leg, not quite locked. And we'll shift from here into warrior three. Send the left leg behind you. Try to keep hips square and aim for flat back, heart beaming forward. But increase the length from your fingers to your toes. Grow long. Eventually hands to the ground. Lift that left leg high, and if you'd like to experiment, hop in with the one-legged Vinyasa. Otherwise, do your normal thing. Then kicking left leg high, step that foot through, inhale up to warrior one, transitioning for our balance, left hand to left hip, take hold of right yogi toe lock, maybe with a bent knee, your choice, and then doing your best to extend the right leg, possibly lifting it. Your knee may still be bent, that's totally perfectly fine. And then kick the right leg behind you, drift the chest down, arms wide, and then out in front of you, about at the ear line. Lift up the belly, grow long from the crown of your head to the toes, and then take hands to the mat. Kick this right leg high for brief standing split, and then decide, will you do one-legged Vinyasa? We'll meet in downward facing dog. Once again, connecting with intention. Kicking right leg high, step that foot through, root the back heel down, and inhale up to warrior one. Take right hand to right hip. Once again, hopping in for this balance. Grab hold of left yogi toe. The knee could be bent or straight. Moving through it faster now, shift into warrior three, just hit it, and then take your right hand to the ground, left hand to left hip, coming into Ardha Chandrasana. You can always use a book or block on the floor underneath your right hand. Try to expand to the chest, stack shoulders, and lift the left leg higher and higher, eventually softening right knee, and hopping out for warrior two, then reverse warrior, and side angle pose. Start an easy side angle, right forearm to the thigh, and then stand up, find reverse warrior, and come back in, maybe coming to easy side angle again, or taking the right hand to the outside of the right foot, left arm up and overhead. Roll both hands to frame the right foot, and we'll shoot through another Vinyasa, finding downward facing dog. Kick the left leg high, step that foot through, root the back heel, and inhale up to warrior one. Find your balance, left hand to left hip, grab hold of right yogi toe with bent or extended leg, just one breath. Shifting in for warrior three, extend right leg behind you, try to flatten the back as you take arms in front of the ear line. Then placing left hand on the floor or to a block underneath your shoulder, lift the right arm high and be lifting up with this right hip and with the right leg. Keep the right foot flexing. And then soften out for warrior two. Reach back for peaceful warrior. And then easy side angle, right arm up and over, left forearm to the left thigh. Stand up all the way for reverse warrior and then come back in, maybe now deepening your extended side angle by taking the left hand to the outside of left foot or onto a block, right arm up and overhead, ideally behind your ear line if you can swing it. Both hands roll to the ground. Step through your Vinyasa, feeling the rhythm now in your own practice, inviting any personal style you have and embracing it. Soften the knees, gaze forward, and step or float to hands. Bow into forward fold, and then inhale to lift up to stand. Take right hand to the right hip and lift the left arm up and over. Find that side body stretch again. And then other side, right arm up and over. And back to center. Taking the hands to the heart. Inhale, lift arms above head. And exhale, dive for forward fold. Inhale to flat back. Soften and prepare to step or float. Now, chaturanga, cobra or upward facing, and downward facing dog. Kicking the right leg high, let's place the foot between hands, root the back heel down, and find warrior one. Shifting again into our balance, right hand to right hip, left hand grabs left yogi toe, just one breath. Shifting into warrior three, just one breath. Now left hand down to the ground as the right arm rolls up. This is rotating Ardha Chandrasana, your half moon. Let's keep the left leg extending and strong. Roll back to warrior two, reach back for reverse, and then come into another side angle pose, this time maybe right hand inside the right foot, And if it's accessible to you, go for a bind. Left hand reaches behind the low back, right arm or right fingers reach for the left wrist, or maybe just the fingers. So we're coming in now to bird of paradise posture, shifting weight onto left foot and kicking the right leg high. If you were not bound before, it doesn't matter. Use your right hand and just keep hold of your knee or thigh. You can do the same thing. Try to extend your right leg, and then we'll step all the way back out for this lunge. Straightening right leg, make it Trikonasana, but extend your arm. Left arm up above the ear line, reaching back behind you. Find a way open triangle. Try to see if you can take your right hand back kind of behind the right foot. Just make it feel nice, and then we'll come through Vinyasa. Back to down dog. Inhale, left leg high, and step that foot through, rooting the back heel. Inhale, up to warrior one. Finding our balance, left hand to left hip, right knee up. Grab hold of yogi toe, one breath. Shift in, warrior three, one breath. And reverse or rotated half moon. Right hand to the ground, left arm reaching up. Try to separate the shoulders, flatten through the chest, and keep that right leg about parallel with the ground. Float out to warrior two. Take reverse warrior, and left hand plants inside the left foot for side angle, possibly bound side angle. Eventually hopping right foot forward, shift weight onto the right foot, find your focal point, and lift the left leg up with you. You don't have to be bound. We'll try to extend that left leg, and do your best to keep hips square and to lift up high through the chest. Eventually stepping right back down. Take a giant step back with right leg, find your lunge again, and then we'll release hands, straighten this left leg, and find a Trikonasana that suits your practice. Maybe even taking this right arm across the ear line or open behind you. Try taking left hand out behind you. Just really open your triangle. Then stepping hands to the ground, rock through a Vinyasa, and we'll meet in downward facing dog. Softening knees, gaze forward, and step or hop just outside the hands. Take hands into heart center. Use the elbows to help knees wide and squat. And lift the chest up tall. And from here, we'll prepare for Bakasana. Take hands to the mat. Plant the knees in the armpits, or maybe get shins along the tricep bone or tricep line. Maybe you can keep the face lifting as you lift the hips up high. Take a foot off the ground at a time, maybe bringing heels closer and closer to your butt. Maybe trying to go for straight arms, 5 full breaths, and eventually rock it out. Vinyasa rather. And back to downward facing dog. Kick your right leg high. Place the foot between the hands, and we'll find lizard. Take an elbow at a time to the ground or to a block. Option to drop the back knee. Take the left forearm across the chest. Plant those fingers behind the right heel, and then lift the right arm up to the ceiling. It's just a really big, satisfying hip opening spinal twist. The right knee is bent. Roll back to hands down and take yourself through Vinyasa. Kicking the left leg high. Step that foot outside left hand. We'll find lizard here. Take an elbow at a time to the ground. Release and relax. Let the hips open. And then we'll take the right knee to the ground, unless you didn't last time. Take the right forearm across the body and plant the fingers behind the left heel. Roll the left arm up toward the ceiling and squeeze. Open the chest up high. Love this hip opening twist. Roll hands back to the mat, tuck back toe, and take your Vinyasa. Meeting in down dog. From down dog, we'll take knees to the mat, send hips to heels and arms alongside the body for child's pose. Deep, softening breaths. Allow the shoulders in particular to be heavy. We'll come back to all fours, shift to plank, chaturanga, cobra or upward facing, downward facing dog. Shift onto the belly for bow poses. We'll do bow for 3 breaths and then rock onto each side at a time. My video is going to cut out here. I had a technical glitch, but we'll finish with these back bends. Enjoy a twist or two, any inversion of your choosing, and then give yourself a nice shavasana for a few minutes. Thanks for watching. Namaste.